Welcome to Unit 1 on measurement. In sections 1 and 2, we're going to be looking at imperial measures of length. So what is the imperial system of measurement? Well, in Canada, we measure distances using meters, kilometers, centimeters, or even millimeters. So these are what we call SI units, or System International, also known as the metric system. Now there's some other places in the world, like the US, where they measure distances in feet, inches, miles, and yards. So these are what we call imperial units. So let's compare the two systems using this ruler. So you may have seen a ruler like this before, where on one side you have centimeters, and on the other side you have inches. So you have worked with the centimeter side before. This ruler is 30 centimeters long. Here is the width of 1 centimeter, and this is broken into more little notches. If you count them, there are 10, where each one represents a millimeter. So there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So now let's focus on the other side, where we have inches. So here's the length of an inch, which is much larger than a centimeter. Now, how many notches is an inch broken into? Well, if you count it up, you'll see 16. So that means each notch is worth 1/16. So we'd have 1/16, then we'd have 2/16, which reduces to an eighth, then 3/16, 4/16, which is a quarter, and so on. Now let's compare centimeters and inches a little bit closer here. So if I draw a dotted line up from 15 and from 16, representing 1 centimeter, you can see that that's not even half an inch. So in 1 inch, it would be at least 2 centimeters plus a little bit more. Now on this ruler, we have 12 inches in total. And 12 inches is actually equal to 1 foot. So now you know roughly how big an inch is and how big a foot is. So now let's look at a yardstick. Now on the bottom we have a meter stick, which you may have seen before. A meter stick has 100 centimeters on it. So we can see that a yardstick is not quite as long, but it is close to a meter. Now if I take 3 of these rulers that have 12 inches on each one, or 1 foot, they would equal exactly 1 yard. So that means 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Now let's put everything that we learned together in this chart. So we have inches, which can be represented with IN with a dot, or you may see it written like this. In the brackets here, I have 2 inches, so 2 with a set of quotation marks. Now a foot is represented with FT, and you might see that written like this with just a single quote. Now for yards, we have YD, and for miles, we have MI. Now we don't have any symbols for these units. So now let's look at an inch and a foot. In the ruler, we said we had 12 inches, which was equal to 1 foot. So we have this relation. Now between feet and yards, 3 of the rulers equal 1 yard, so we can write that as 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Now we didn't really look at miles, but 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. So these are the 3 conversions that we're going to be using throughout this unit to help us convert from one unit to the other. You can now move on to the next video in this lesson to practice using these conversions.